Manu and Sammy are best friends. Manu likes to read books and listen to music. He gets top marks in tests and likes to learn about things. Sammy likes the outdoors and listens to music too. He is the best at sport and also likes to learn about things. They live in Australia on the edge of a big res desert. One day, Sammy suggested to Manu that they go camping in the desert so that they could watch the stars from their sleeping bags. Manu liked the idea of the stars, which he knew were at their brightest when you got away from the lights of the town. He wasn't so sure about hiking into the desert and camping out overnight, but he liked to spend time with Sammy. They were best friends after all, so he agreed to go. He did some research about the constellations they might see and made a note of them. They packed up their sleeping bags, some wood for a fire, Manu's notebook, and snacks for supper and breakfast, and set off tramping into the desert. Sammy set an energetic pace. Manu quickly became exhausted. They stopped for a drink of water and set off again. Sammy kept going on a little bit too fast for Manu. He was determined to get well into the desert before the darkness enveloped them. Manu became more and more exhausted, but Sammy didn't seem to realise. Manu became more and more infuriated until he exploded with anger. "This is ridiculous, Sammy. I refuse to go any further. This was such a stupid idea. You're so stupid, thinking I could trek all this way into the desert at this ridiculous pace just to see some stupid stars." They stopped, set and lit a fire, unrolled their sleeping bags, but did not speak to each other. Sammy took out a stick and wrote in the red desert sand, "My best friend called me stupid." He then added the stick to the fire and they both settled down to sleep. Neither of them went to sleep immediately. They were both infuriated. They each stared crossly into the sky and saw with wonder the stars come out. They gazed at their brightness and the huge number of them. Manu thought, "Sammy was so right to bring me out here to see this amazing sight, but I will not tell him." Sammy thought, "I bet Manu knows what all these constellations are, but I'm not going to ask him." Eventually, they both nodded off to sleep. Manu was the first to wake, just as the first fingers of light were reaching into the vast dark sky and slowly inking out the starlight. There was a pinkish glow where the sun would appear. The pink became more and more concentrated as the hidden sun lit up the few thin wisps of cloud meandering by. Manu looked across at Sammy, who was still fast asleep. He wanted to share what he knew would be a mighty sunrise with his best mate. He woke Sammy up, and they watched the sunrise together. When the pink and red and orange gave way to piercing white again, they started to pack up their camp. Sammy picked up a red rock and with his penknife carved, "My best friend just showed me the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life." As a gentle breeze wafted the red sand around in tiny whirlwinds and blew away his words from the night before, they headed back into town, with a memento of the good time they'd had. Why did Sammy write Manu's insult in the sand, but carved his memory of the glorious sunrise in the stone? Manu and Sammy are best friends. Sometimes they fall out, but they forget about these times and only remember the good times that they share.